Good morning, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? This is Big Kev for Big Kev's World, and coming back to you with another video here. Um, Going to be talking about the John Gruden situation. If anyone's been living under a rock here, you all know that these emails that came out, and apparently the thing with John Gruden has been these emails have been very suspect as of late. It's been very let's say touche here. Let's just say that from what I understand, I've been watching a few clips here and there. Did a little bit of research on it. Apparently, the NFL was doing some investigation on the Washington football team, better formerly known as the Washington Redskins. I still call them the Redskins, but that's just me. Um, there were some investigations being done on that side where they were talking about what they can find, and what they found was some emails that John Gruden posted. Now, I don't usually go on a limb here, but I'm about to read some of the things that Mr. Gruden said in this email. Here, I'm just going to look them up here. Let me see here. Thank you for everybody that has subbed up so far. I appreciate it. Okay, so apparently, I'm going to read the. I don't usually read the New York Times. Okay, I usually don't, but they're the first things that popped up, so I'm going to use them. So before Gruden resigned, he resigned over the week. He did say on Friday that he last Friday that he did not remember sending these emails. So I do know that they said he used a lot of homophobic and he used a lot of some people say he used a little bit of racial comments in his post. And I can tell you this right now before I go digger deep, before I dig even more deeper into this John Gruden email scandal. We can all safely say that his career is over as far as coaching, as far as being a broadcaster, because while he wasn't coaching, he was a part of Monday Night Football's cast, and you can honestly, Gruden's a very smart he was a very smart coach. The Raiders were doing pretty well this season with John Gruden. Let me see. Let me read what ESPN has here. This is what Chris Morstein said. Gruden said that he was in a bad frame of mind in 2011. He said he called Roger Goodell a word in one of the emails too. They they were keeping players and coaches from doing what they love with a lockout. They were also doing things being reported publicly about the safety of the sport that I love. I was on a mission on a high school football team in Tampa, Florida. During that time, there were a lot of parents who were scared about letting their kids play football. It just didn't sit well with me. That's something that Gruden said. Now, Gruden didn't identify any of the owners that he cited in a negative light pertaining to the labor negotiations. A league official has declined to confirm the number of emails that were turned over to Raiders owner Mark Davis and team executives, Gruden estimated that he was aware of 5 to 7 emails that were flagged by the league. The league officials also would not address the specific Gruden direct at the specific email that Gruden was directed at NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. The NFL has said that it's exploring disciplinary measures that might be taken against Gruden, although he was not employed by the NFL or any teams when the emails were sent. The Wall Street Journal reported Friday that one of Gruden's emails included a racial comment in reference to NFL Players Association Executive Director Smith. Gruden, who was employed by ESPN at the time as a lead analyst for Monday Night Football, said Friday that he was ashamed that I insulted D. Smith, and added that he never had a racial thought when he sent the email. Reactions to Gruden's emails comments have been widely ranged both within the Raiders locker room and around the league. According to sources, some people believe that there is repercussions for John Gruden, while others have believed that he should be forgiven, including one black player who gave him a hug and asked how he could help. Rod Graves, the executive director of Fritz Pollard Alliance, called for the NFL and the Raiders to respond to Gruden's comments with a remedy with these painful words. The insensitivity remarks made by John Gruden are indicative of racism that exists on many levels in professional sports, Graves said in a statement Sunday morning. Furthermore, it reveals that the journey of African Americans and other minorities in a sport is riddled with an repressed mindset at the highest level. It is our hope that the league and team ownerships will address this matter with the remedies with these painful words. Yet there's another. Okay, so as you can read, as I'm reading this, you can tell what's going on here a little bit more. But now I'm going to go into it now because John Gruden did coach the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before. He also coached the Raiders before taking a hiatus and now coaching the Raiders again before resigning. So here's Hall of Fame wide receiver Tim Brown, who played for Gruden with the Raiders from 1998 to 2001. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2004, defended Gruden's character in a radio interview Saturday. Here's what Tim Brown, Hall of Famer Tim Brown, wide receiver, had to say. Never have I ever gotten anything from him that made me even pause to think about, that didn't come off right. Brown tells Sirius Radio, NFL Radio, if you know Gruden, you know anything about him, or if you've been around him, especially for the length of time that I've been knowing him, you would have gotten that hint that this guy's not right. There's something not right about him. But there's no way that I would have ever thought that. John Gruden said Friday that he has spoken with Davis and expects us to speak with him again. Davis said Friday that the content of Gruden's emails was disturbing and not what the Raiders stand for. So as you can see, the Raiders were talking to John Gruden before last week, and Gruden decided to resign as NFL coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I have a hard time calling them the Las Vegas Raiders because they're still Oakland, So it's a little bit of a stretch. Now, I don't know. I wasn't going to dig more deeper into details. I'm not going to clarify what he said on the emails. Like, I'm seeing what he said. But I'm not going to repeat it on here because I don't want to get flagged or anything like that. So I'm not going to repeat what was said. But let me just clarify Roger Goodell's comment, okay? Any sports fan, any NFL football fan knows this, what I'm about to say. We all despise Roger Goodell. That's not even an afterthought. A lot of us, if you ever see those NFL draft, if you ever see the NFL draft on TV, every time he comes to the podium, fans are booing Roger Goodell over and over and over again. So I can understand people having a little bit of a gripe about Roger Goodell. So I don't condone. I don't have a problem with what Gruden said about Roger Goodell. That's the part I don't have a problem with. Here's where this may be unpopular to some of you, but it is my opinion, and I stand by my convictions, and I stand by my rights as a human. Um, these emails were supposed to be for the Washington Redskins. John Gruden has no ties to the Washington football team. To my knowledge, he doesn't. So when you were saying you're doing you're doing an investigation on some emails, my question to you is, so John Gruden, so what I'm reading now is John Gruden 17 hours ago. John Gruden's emails are part of the WFT Washington football team owner Dan Snyder's court filing. So basically, Dan Snyder of the Washington football team, the owner, his email were a part of that. So, okay. But it's still, this is where we go as America right now, as America as a whole right now, as our country. Things, every year, things get more different, more difficult, more hard for anybody to remotely say what they want to say. Now, when you say stuff on an email and you say stuff in the privacy of your own home, I ain't condoning what he did. So please hope that, I'm hoping some of you don't think that I'm condoning what John Gruden said, because I'm not. But what I'm trying to imply is that if you are in the comfort of your own home, whether or not you can say this or not, like, look, some of us play games. Some of us are play on our PlayStation, our Xbox, or PC gaming. Now, I remember the times that I used to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 on the PlayStation 3. And when I used to get on there under the headphones and start talking to people, there was there's comments there going on there from players talking trash to each other that is worse than what John Gruden said. Okay? There's some really, really, like, if you play games, I don't care if it's Fortnite, I don't care if it's Grand Theft Auto, I don't care if it's Red Dead Redemption, I don't care if it's Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, whatever. If you have been in a room full of people, you know that racial slurs happen. You do know that homophobic comments happen. You do know that everything happens. And they will call you the P word. They'll call you things that are, you're like, well, damn, all right. You know, they will go deep with it. And it's the same thing that happened with Hulk Hogan. You know, Hulk Hogan wrote those emails, what, 2000? Well, he had that video, what, 2006, 2008? That little sex video he did with his ex-best friend's ex-wife. He made those comments because he made those comments out of frustration. It's in this day and age, ladies and gentlemen, where you got to watch what you say. And that's really scary, because you what the thing is why they hold you to this standard say for example, let's say some of us now on here, or at least in our 20s, 30s, 40s now. Some of us are that I know here personally on YouTube. Some of us are at that age. What I find funny about the situation is you can say what you want about John Gruden. Should he have made those comments out of frustration? No. Do people do it? Absolutely. Doesn't make them right by making those comments, but at the same time, I mean, if those emails were for the Washington football team, then I still do not understand what it has to do with John Gruden. Now, what sucks about this though is that his family is going to be thrown into the mud. I think his brother is an assistant coach or an offensive coordinator or something for one of the teams in the NFL, or was. This really puts this man, even though he's got money, he's got it made, obviously. So I don't think Gruden's going to be starving for money, but this ruins a man's career. This ruins a man's life almost. To an extent, this ruins a man's life. Did he do the right thing by resigning for the Las Vegas Raiders? Yes. In that situation, I would have resigned, because that at that point you're embarrassed. You're like, wow, okay, I wrote these emails out of anger. It doesn't matter how you wrote them or why you wrote them. You wrote it. But what I find funny though is John Gruden doesn't gets held responsible for the comments that he made. But there's NFL players on NFL football teams who have gotten away with domestic abuse, who's gotten away with murder, who is Michael Vick, who got a second chance after that dog fighting ring. Ben Roethlisberger pretty much got away with raping a girl his rookie season. You see where I'm getting at? We got some NFL players on there who have gotten away with a lot of dirty stuff. I'm not going to lie. They've gotten away with it. But they weren't held responsible. They were not held responsible. You could even go back and say with the Hillary Clinton emails that happened, why she wasn't held responsible. And that was the serious part of our country at stake, and you're in the privacy of your own home looking at those emails. Why was she not held responsible? Why didn't she get responsibility for it? Because it doesn't fit the narrative of the other person, of the other people. Right now you can't go and say things that you. Now, when I was on the football field and I played football, man, the other teams would say some stuff that I can't repeat on here. I mean, I cannot repeat what was said. I can just tell you, if they were to say it today, they would no longer be on the football team. And look, John Gruden does not deserve to be an NFL football coach. I'll go ahead and I'll clarify and I'll stamp on that. But at the same time, should we really condone a person for an email that was years ago? 10 years ago? Should we really condone somebody for that? I mean, the America is the land of the free, home of the brave. People come across here, the borders all the time, looking to get away from poverty and make it in America, right? So then you have, while you're trying to make it here in America, There's also the thing about second chances, redemption. Redemption is a big word. And people always love hearing the underdog story, like redemption stories. I love redemption stories. And I go back to the whole thing about Michael Vick because he he had an underground dog ring, and I'm a big animal lover. I still haven't forgave him for that. But I believed he deserved a second chance. The thing is, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And he got his second chance, and Michael Vick did not mess it up. Gruden does well. Gruden, do I believe Gruden deserves a second chance sometime down the road? Yes. Will he get it? No. And there are some players who have played for Gruden. Now there's Keyshawn Johnson that's on NFL that's on ESPN in the mornings. He hasn't been a fan of John Gruden for a long time. He's called John Gruden out because he played for Gruden. He said he's not surprised by these comments. But then when I read to you earlier what NFL Hall of Famer Tim Brown said, who played for Gruden for the Raiders and Tampa, the Buccaneers, said that he's never seen anything that was said, remotely said. He never heard anything remotely said about what Gruden's never came off like that. So you got conflicting reports on that because you got one player that's saying, "Well, I'm not surprised," and then another one is saying, "Well, I'm," and that's what's going to happen. I mean, this is going to be the talk of the town for a while on sports media. It's going to be on there about Gruden for a long time. I never really been a fan of John Gruden, to be honest with you. I mean, I know he is from the University of Tennessee, which is one of my favorite college football teams here in the SEC. But I'm not really that big of a fan of Gruden. Is it a big loss for me? No, but I know for the Raiders, who's started off on a pretty good start here this season, it's got to be heartbreaking. You know, I know Derek Carr, the quarterback of the Raiders, was devastated by these comments. Um, but here's the thing, though: those anybody who's upset about those emails, they weren't directed towards you. That's how I look at it. If it's not said about me, I don't care. I mean, do I condone it? No, but at the same time, I'm looking at it like I said, this video is not going to be a very popular one, and I mean, I hope people don't hold me accountable or try to think that I'm condoning this because I'm not. I'm just speaking from a different perspective here. That's the best word I can describe. I'm speaking from a different perspective. Do I believe that John Gruden deserves a chance in the NFL again? No. Will he get his chance? No. But do I think he deserves to make a living on the outside of this world? Absolutely. Do I believe it will be with football? No. I don't believe it will be with football. His football days are over. Plain and simple. But does he deserve to have some redemption? Yeah. Yeah, he does. Everybody has said something behind the scenes. I don't care who you are. Someone has said something behind the scenes that's been hurtful. And if you said you haven't, you're lying. Because at that point, we're like, look, we're in the comfort of our own home. We're in the comfort. We're doing emails. Wow, right? This day and age, they will dig up the worst thing about you. You could say something that say for example, you were 16 years old and you were in high school and you said something that was out of this world. But back then, when you said it when you were 16, it didn't really matter. But then, say for example, you're running for like something in government, like you're running for Congress or you're trying to get a job, you're trying to be famous or something. Anything that you said in the past is going to come back and bite you. I believe that Gruden knew about these emails. He knew he sent them, and the fact that he said that he don't remember sending them was horseshit. He sent it. He know he sent it. Do I think that Gruden's a racist? No, I don't think so. Do I think that he was remorse for what he said? No. That's the thing right there. I believe Gruden has no remorse for what he said. That's my opinion. I don't see no remorse from him. He did the right thing by resigning and getting out of there and gracefully leaving, because if he didn't, they would have fired him point blank. I'm pretty sure Mark Davis and the staff of the Raiders would have fired him. But he went in there, he coached one last game, and then he resigned. And that's about as good as you can probably do in this situation, is to bow down gracefully and leave. That shows character by what he did, resigning, knowing that. But how people find out about emails and how people dig in your history is really, it's cruel. It's very cruel. We live in a world now where you say one thing and you're reprimanded for life. And that's scary. It's a very scary world. It's a very scary situation. It's different now. And, I'm not, I think we all have skeletons in our closet. I'm not an innocent party on things. I'll fully admit that right here and there, but I always ask God every time for forgiveness and for redemption. And that's where I'm at. I have a really good, strong relationship with the man upstairs. A lot of people don't know this about me. I'm very spiritual. And anybody I feel like judges me should be the one upstairs. And that's just how I feel. I don't feel like I don't judge people because, judging is a sin. I don't judge. But do I think people need to be held accountable for their actions? Yes, I do. And Gruden needs to be held accountable for his actions. I'm looking at it from both sides of the coin. I'm looking at it like, well, he wasn't talking about everybody. He said something about Roger Goodell, who most people hate anyways. If you're a sports fan, some of you on here are not NFL fans. Some of you don't like football, and that's okay. Some people don't, and that's totally understandable. Totally understandable. But there are some who are NFL fans that don't like Roger Goodell. So for him saying what he said about Roger Goodell, I really don't have a problem with it. Now, there was an NFL player who came out a couple years ago who said they were gay. I think he was the first gay NFL player. He didn't last very long in the league. But, I know Gruden made some homophobic comments about that guy. Like I said, I'm not going to repeat what he said. But I don't think you being straight or gay has anything to do with your playing abilities. I look at it like this: if you have abilities and you can make my football team better, I don't care. That's just how I am. Some people don't feel that way, and whether or not Gruden is remorseful for what he said or not, we could all agree that he's not going to be in the NFL anymore, and he shouldn't be. He should not be allowed to be in the NFL ever again. But I will say that his emails, where people get so upset about these things, I'm sitting there thinking, you're getting upset over something that doesn't involve you. It wasn't directed towards you, or you. And you have Randy Moss on ESPN breaking down in tears over these comments. And I'm sitting there like, he wasn't talking about you. It doesn't affect you. Whatever happened to manly men, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words never hurt you. Some of us are just too damn sensitive anymore. And that's a problem right there. I'm a pretty sensitive level guy too. I mean, I'll admit I made some mistakes about being overly sensitive to things, but I also have a pretty tough exterior too. And I don't know, this whole situation with John Gruden it's disheartening because when he wasn't coaching there for a while, I was hoping that he would go back to his alma mater in University of Tennessee and coach Tennessee Vols. But then he went back to the NFL and coached the Raiders for a pretty big sum of contract. So, like I said, the dude's not struggling for money. So but what I worry about though is how this affects his wife, how this affects his kids, how this is going to affect his brother in the NFL now. I mean, even though his brother has nothing to do with what he said, but because you're affiliated and because you are family, in this day and age, they're going to hold his brother Jay Gruden responsible. And it's not fair, it's not right, but that's just how it is. They're going to hold his wife accountable. They're going to hold his kids accountable. But his actions should be his and his alone. If I said something out of the way, I wouldn't want someone to hold my family accountable. I wouldn't want them to hold Mel accountable. I wouldn't want them to hold my wife accountable. I want them to hold me accountable. And I think that that's where I have a hard time with how, PC the world has gotten with things. It's, you know, hold the man responsible. That's fine. But leave his children, leave his family out of it. His family does not reflect his actions. His family does not reflect his opinion. And that is where I'm having a hard time with, because I'm looking at it like, if you're holding things responsible, you shouldn't. Is this going to come out? Is this going to get this whole Gruden thing is going to get worse before it gets better? I'm going to be honest with you right now. It's going to get worse before it gets better. If John Gruden thinks that this is just going to go away, nah, it's not going to go away. And I hate to tell Mr. Gruden that, but it's not going to go away. This is one of those things where look prime example. Look at Hulk Hogan. He did that comments. He made that comments around, like I said, 2008, and he got reprimanded for it in 2015. He got reprimanded for it, and still to this day, he's done stuff to make amends. He's done stuff to be apologetic, and people still holding that hate towards him. And if that was in 2015 when he got fired and got kicked out of the WWE and was not even in the Hall of Fame. So now it's 2021. They're going to be holding on to this for a very long time. But at the same time, though, you can hear rap songs and they make comments. Rap songs can make comments. Like I said, you got some NFL players. There's a player on the Kansas City Chiefs who got away with murder. There's players who have gotten away with domestic abuse, domestic assault. Look at Antonio Brown. Look at Antonio Brown. Look at all that crazy stuff that he did. But yet, he gets redemption by going to Tampa and playing with Tom Brady. I know people are going to say, well, he didn't make a comment. He didn't say this. He didn't say that. I get that. But the same thing should be said. If their actions deserve consequences, well, if Gruden's actions deserves consequences, and so does everybody else. That is my opinion on this whole thing. Gruden deserves everything that he's going to get. He's going to deserve everything that he gets. And I would feel the same way if this was Titans head coach Mike Vrabel. I would feel the same way. If he said something, I'd be like, yeah, resign. Get out of here. We don't need that distraction. And for the last week before going into their game, this was a distraction because every time Gruden would come to the podium, they would ask him questions about it. It got to a point where he did his job, he resigned, he walked away. You would think, okay, well, he walked away, he resigned. And he said he was sorry and stuff like that. You would think that would be the end of it, but no. It's not going to be the end of it. But I'm just telling everybody, if you're going to hold Gruden responsible, then you need to look at some of the people in the NFL who are still playing in the NFL who's gotten away with stuff, and players in the past who have, like Ray Lewis, like Michael Vick, a couple other guys who got their second chances, got their redemption. And I'm a big animal lover, so for me, when Michael Vick did that, I hated him. I had so much disdain for that man. But he came back. He redeemed himself. Would I trust him around my animal? No. I wouldn't trust him around my dog. No. Damn sure wouldn't do that. But he got redemption. Will John Gruden get his redemption? Sadly to say, I don't think so. I do not think John Gruden's going to get his redemption at all. All John Gruden can do now is take the heat that's coming to him. That's the only thing you can do in this situation is take the heat that's coming to you, because if you don't, keep being apologetic, apologize, do whatever you got to do, but at the same time, it's not going to work. He will not be back in the NFL as a coach, and he will not be an NFL broadcaster. I don't even think he would get a college football job. I don't even think the college football would even let him in there either. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he can even get a job as a high school football coach right now. That's how bad this situation is. But for the people who are going around upset and crying over this, my response to you is he wasn't talking about you. You weren't a part of those emails. Unless he was talking about you directly, which he was to the NFL Player Association, which he was to Roger Goodell, which he was to that NFL player who came out to be gay. Those are three people he was talking about. I can understand why those three would be upset. But if he ain't talking about the rest of you, then it's, I don't know. That's just how I look at it. If it's not about you, why are you upset? Times have changed. Times are different. I get it. The only thing I will definitely say here before I end this here, and thanks everybody for liking and sharing and subbing. I appreciate it. I know this video is not a very popular one because some people are going to be really pissed at John Gruden, and I'm frustrated with him, honestly, because I'm just like, you had it made with the Raiders, and you. That's why you need to proofread what you read, what you send to somebody. Always delete what you send to somebody, because you never know when something like that's going to come back and bite you in the ass. His name's going to be thrown in the mud for a long, long time. And if I was a player of the Raiders right now, I'd be pissed because I would look at it like, wow, here we are. We're doing really well this season. We're off to a good start. And then this happens. It can make or break an NFL. It can make or break a team, no matter what sport it is. It can make or break a team. And the fact that he resigned, yes, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more punishment coming for John Gruden. So this is Big Kev for Big Kev's World. This is my opinion, my world. We're all just living in it.